Good day and welcome to Manny's Makings. Today we're going to do a little tool for you where you can make elements and pieces that you can turn into fantastic jewelry. So we're just going to play with wire, and then once we finish playing with wire we're going to do some fun things. So I've got some elements here. I'm going to show you them later. I'm just going to show you one element, and they're basically all made on the same premise. So this is a little loop that goes around, and then I've woven them together in the center, and this makes a triskelion, and then I curled the ends after I was done, so I have an element that I can do something with. Turn it into a pendant, I could bead on it, I could, there's lots of different things I could do with it. So what I want to teach you to do is how to make the little elements so that you can make your own designs. I want you to start to think as a designer, not just as somebody copying somebody else, but how to play so that you can come up with your own creative things that are fun for you. So to make the triskelion, you need to make 3 of these. These are starting, this is an 18 gauge ParaWire. This is titanium. I just happen to have it's called a bulk spool, and I ordered it directly from ParaWire because I'm in Canada. It's cheaper for shipping and stuff to get it here. You have to pay taxes to go across the border. I have round nose pliers, definitely going to need those today. Cutters and chain nose pliers and nylon jaw pliers, obviously, and a ruler, my famous ruler. So I'm going to start with a 3-inch piece. I've cleaned up the ends so both of them are flush. So if you watched any of my chain making tutorials, you sort of know how to do that. So I'm not very good at doing spirals, I'm going to confess. So I have figured out ways to do spirals so they look nicer. And hopefully I can pass this on to all of you who can't make spirals worth a snot, because there's a lot of us out here that can't. So let me just get some of this stuff out of my way a little bit, pull some of this out of the way a little bit so I'm not interfering with the focus so much. So basically I'm going to start this like I start any of the chain tutorials, where I'm starting to make a loop around the tip of my pliers, getting it to this stage. Let me get that out of the way too. So getting it to this stage, and then I'm going to continue. I actually made it a little too small. Let me pull this other side in here. There we go. I do have a fat side of my pliers and a thin side, which is kind of an interesting thing, but it's fine. So I'm going to start like normal. And remember how I would roll past? So I roll past, so it starts this round section. Okay, so one of the things they don't tell you when people make loops and they do them automatically is that our instinct, or my instinct anyways, it was and is still, I have to fight it, is to keep things tight and keep pushing down towards the bottom wire here. Well, that isn't actually how it works. I hold onto the wire farther back, and I actually, see if I can do this where you can see it, I'm actually pushing upwards, and I gotta get my pliers in there better, that would be helpful. Okay, so I'm pushing upwards and then spinning. So, see, not pretty, right? What you can do is you stick your pliers in and you push. You push against the part that's sticking out too far. And you can always pull it back out again. Okay? So, you're trying to make it nicer, neater spiral. So you're pushing, you're sort of pushing up and towards the end here versus down towards the bottom wire. There's some downward motion, but it's also, see, it gets a little bit better. So I need to make this match these two, and obviously this isn't come even close, right? So now I've got this hot mess of a spiral that I wouldn't use anywhere. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to tweak it in towards, I'm trying to match up that first little curve. So that first curve on this side, and I'm taking my plier here, and I'm just pushing gently and pushing it to where I want it to be. Now this is kind of funky here, right? So my flat nose pliers, believe it or not, are going to help me out here. I'm going to stick them in, and the tip of my flat nose pliers actually gives me some spacing. And when it curves more than you want it to, you can actually press where it's curving too much. Like if this is curved too much here or not enough here, I can actually press with my flat nose pliers, and it's really hard to show you guys. Let's see if I can do it up here. I'm pushing with my flat nose pliers and it's pushing my wire out. So let's say I didn't want this curve here. If I push, see how it pushed out my bottom? So I'm not pushing hard, I'm just bringing it back out so it's on a gentle, if this is too flat here, I can make it rounder, right? So put my pliers in, if I can get them in there. In this case, I would have to start, there we go. So I can round it out a bit. And this is a gentle thing, you don't want to mess up your so I'm using a you don't want to mess up your loop completely. If you do, you can always start again. It's only 3 inches of wire. So come in some, and I can see that this top bump here is not right. So I'm going to bring that in some, and then I have to bring this out some. So basically what you're doing is you're tweaking as you go. Now I've got that first loop messed up and it's not going to fix it. But that first spirally bit right here is kind of messed up, so I'm going to literally take my wire with my pliers back in it. Okay. And I'm fixing, work fixed is better with this than it does with the other. So, see how I fixed that wire so I can keep going, and I'm going to straighten the rest of it out a little bit more. See how it's got the bends here and here? Watch. It's a smoother bend. Smoother bend. So I'm going to get a better wrap around it. Okay, so let's put the pliers back in and pretend we're starting again. So we got this far, and then I'm going to push. Okay, so this is looking, except for this being not straight, which I can straighten out again. This is starting to look a lot better. See, it's getting closer. Now I can see this bottom section here is too big, so I'm going to just pull it down a bit. And you're going to make sure you go in the right direction. Look at that, it's getting better. See? Now it's just a little too narrow, so I'm going to pull out that loop a little bit. Look at that, it's getting even better. And I can see it's a little flat right here. Can you see that? So I'm going to straighten out the flatness. So basically I just have to bring it around that last little piece. So if I hold that there, I can bring it around. Pretty dang close. So I'm trying to match them up. Now there's probably lots of other techniques, but those are for those of us who can't make spirals where it's not. So now I have 3 spirals. I made 3, 2 other ones. So how a Triskelion works is that each of these circles have to be going in the same direction. So if you set them all up, lined up like this, and this isn't flat, so let's flatten this out. There we go. So you put all 3 together like this, you're basically just bringing one around the top of the other one, around the top of the other one. See how they all sort of go together? Now, in this particular case, I only wire wrapped the center loops and I left this really wide open. You can wire wrap them any way you want, and what you do is you wire wrap between the 2, then between these 2, and then between these 2, and then, you know, so you have all 3 wire wraps. So if you look here, see if I can get it to focus. Come on, baby. Okay, so I have a wire wrap here, I have a wire wrap section here, and I have a wire wrap section here. So I wire wrapped all 3. Once you get these wire wrapped, then you can bring these around, and you can bring them around, they'll sort of play chase with each other. So they'll do this, you know, so that they'll tighten up right like this. And if you wanted something really tiny, you could definitely bring them around until you get this little triangle. See? And then wire weave, wire weave, wire weave, and then do something else with the leftover wire. So it's up to you what you want to do with them. So I'm going to show you some other elements. Okay? So we're going to take this one element, and I'm actually going to take some length off of it. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch of length if I can find my cutters. There they are. So, I used 2 1/4 for these ones. So, and this is 3, so I have to take 3/4 of an inch off. Okay. So I'm just taking some length off because I want to show you another element. So you can make it like this, like the first element, or you can make it tighter. So let's take this and make it tighter. So I want you to see how you can transition this stuff. Because this is literally, when I'm designing something, I play with wire. And this is what I call playing with wire. I take it and I just keep playing. So I'm just bringing this, I don't know if you can see, but I'm turning it into a tight spiral. Or a little tighter of a spiral. And I'm using the center and the outside of the wire to sort of bring it around. Okay? So there's one way, and I'm going to make another one on this other end going the opposite way. A tight spiral. Okay? So I'm just bringing my pliers around, bringing them around, bringing them around. Okay, there's only so far you can go, and then after that you either have to go with flat nose pliers or with your fingers. I'll do it with the pliers there for you, and then I'll do it with my fingers. So that makes another element like this. Okay, you can make them as long or as short as you want. Now let me show you what you can do with them. So I made 3 of them. Okay, so there's 3 of them. So I can put them together like this, just the 2. And wire weave here. Let me get a pointer. Wire weave here and wire weave up here. And I have, oops, I have something that I could turn into an element or turn into an earring. I could hang chainmail from here, loops, jump rings, thank you. Jump rings from here and here, and then a jump ring through and turn it into an earring. I could wire wrap these two together and then wire wrap a briolet and wire wrap them to here. So this is just the first piece, okay? So watch. Now I could take this and stick it in the middle. So now I have the same sort of thing, but look how it changes. So this could be your top of your earring, and this is your bottom. Now watch, I'm going to flip. All I'm going to do is flip the pieces. Okay, I'm just flipping the 2 bottom pieces. And watch what happens when I do that. I have another piece element, right? Now here's even more fun. I'm going to take them and put them so they're flipped together. Whoop. And I have another element. I can make this move up or down as little as I want. Let's say I want it like that. Now what happens if I take the third one and I do the same thing? That's pretty incredible, right? So I have a really phenomenal earring. And if you think about it ahead of time, these 2 here can have just regular loops. They don't have to have the special, like the double loop. So you can, you know, do the loops here with more stuff on, more turns, and then less turns. You can make these bigger and wider, massive spirals, then small skinny spirals. Your imagination is the only thing that's going to limit you here. So, you know, you just go for it. Just play. So there's that one. Okay, those 3. Now, you got to remember, we've got a few. So here's a big open spiral, and I just put a little loop on the outside. So I have the open spiral now. It's like I started the other ones, just I just made it open, more open. Okay, and I could put this here, and I could put, if I flip it, put that here. Yep. It's really hard to make things move on a rubber board. It wants to stick. Okay, so you get the idea. Let me grab this one instead. For some reason that one's not matching as well. That's okay. And with these practice pieces to just figure out. Now, I don't know about you, but I do loom work, and I do pieces that need 3 attachment points. 1, 2, 3. This could be an end of a bracelet. Okay? If I push this up farther, Really tuck those in. You know, I definitely could have an end of a bracelet. Straighten this out a little more on the top end so that it comes up more towards the middle. No problem. Okay, so let's try another possibility. Let's just take these and bring them down so they touch at the bottom. It's different looking, but it's definitely cool, right? Let's do it this way. So this is me playing. I'm going, do I like that design? Do I like the way that looks? Can I do something with that? How about if I do this and then I flip this? So this is me playing right now. You're watching me play. This is how I think through things. And go, that's really cool. This would be the top and this would be the bottom. Can you see put some stones on here first before you do it and then hang something from it, or even just leave it like it is? Wire wrap here, wire wrap here, wire wrap here. You know, and if you can line this up properly, you can even wire wrap there. So that's sort of a more modern art looking piece. Okay, let's show you another piece that you can do. So this time I'm going to cut off my spool. I want you to start thinking about playing with wire, making shapes with wire, and then what can you do with those shapes? Okay, so let's take this and make this, let's make this 2.5. Okay, so 2.5 inch piece wire. Now this is a piece that I've used before, so I got the one flush end, this end's not. I can feel it, and it probably, if I turned it, it would flash me. So I'm just going to take this and straighten out the end. I'm just cutting off a little tiny piece, and then I have a little dish that I just shove all my little nubbly pieces in. Okay, so I have this piece of wire. Yay, what do I do now? Okay, let's find the middle. So 2.5 inch, so it's 1 1/4 would be my halfway mark, right? And I'm going to put this in the middle where my halfway mark is. And I'm going to bend down. Now you see me start other things this way. So see how they're not even? I don't know if you can see that. They're not even. So you just roll it one way and roll it out the other way on your pliers. So you're rolling your pliers till you even them up. So you push your longer side towards one way and you push your shorter side the other way until you bring them till they're matching. And it doesn't change this at all. I mean, it moves it, but it doesn't change it as far as it's round, okay? So now I have the two pieces here. I'm going to line them up with my pliers, so they're sort of like this. And then I'm going to take one to the front, one to the back, and I'm just going to push up. Okay? So now I have a round place that I can connect stuff to. Okay? And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to make my little, remember my loopy things? So I'm going to take it, making my loop, keep going, okay, just watching that it's not overlapping, and that one is just a smidge. It's okay. Keep going. Okay, so let's do the other side. So I'm doing them, curling them inwards. You can curl them outwards or inwards, and I'm going to show you the difference in a minute. So I didn't get that one as tight, and I can tell. So I'm going to bring it out a little bit. I'm going to tighten that down a bit. I'm letting you see in a bit wider view. I know it's not super tight close up, but the idea is that you're going to then get an idea what I do. Okay, so that's not perfectly flat. And if I was doing this for a particular piece, I would be a lot more gentle with it and get them perfect before I go any further. So I'm bringing this in till they sort of meet in the middle. Okay? And I can see this sort of has a more squarish bump out, so that's okay. I'm just going to take this up and then bump it in. And I get a more squarish bump out on that side. At this point, now all these findings, one of the things I do need to tell you is Once you're happy with them and they're perfect and you want to use them for a project, this is 18 gauge. It's pretty tough. But if I'm going to use it as a clasp and it's going to have a lot of wear and tear and pull on it, I'm definitely going to want to hammer it. So you take your anvil and you hammer it just lightly to work harden it. Really important that you work harden it if you're going to use it as a finding. This was work hardened, and it's, you know, I can't like really easily bend it out of place. So that's going to be important if you want it to maintain its shape, okay? And you have to do that before you do any wire wrapping. So if I had all these pieces all set up and this is going to be my earring, and then I make 2 copies of them, I would hammer them all, double check them and make sure they're all exactly the same, and then I would wire wrap them. One set, then the other set, and then I would do whatever. So you could take this piece here and you can use 2, this becomes a 2-hold place to attach the end of a peyote strip or a peyote piece or any other kind of thing. You can even take wire if you're doing wire work, and you can wrap your wire in here and then around and end it off on the back side to turn this into an end of your wire. So your wire would come in like this in here, and then you would wrap it around, you know, so that it would, this is a loop obviously, but it would wrap around like this, and that would fasten the end of your 2 wires that you might be weaving with, or 3 wires or 4 wires. Yeah, you definitely can use this, and I've used it for both purposes, so that I had something that was, you know, higher gauge. This is 18 gauge, and then maybe I was working with 20 gauge or 22 gauge, and I need something to fasten it. I can fasten a couple. If I don't double them up like this, I can fasten a couple of loops in there, 2 and 2. I could use jump rings, whatever. So you've got a piece here, and this allows you to even hang stuff from. So you could do a little earring, no problem. But watch what happens when I make a couple of them, and I made these ones a little bit bigger, and you could use these for one end and the other end of a clasp. This is weird. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So one end and the other end. No problem. So if they were a clasp, they would go like this, and then you would put on your hook and your what do you call it, jump ring to be able to hook into, and a jump ring before your hook, and this would have lots of fluidity and movement around your bracelet. Okay, so I've got this element. Now if I do it outwards, if I do the 2 loops outwards, I end up with this. So this is this with outward loops instead of inward loops. Okay, now watch. I'm going to take all the pieces that I've got so far that I've been playing with, okay, and I'm going to bring them down here where you can see them, and we're going to play some more. Okay, so I'm going to take this Triskelion piece. Let's say you made a piece like this, and I can go like this on the top, wire wrap there, and wire wrap there, and then I could go like that and that, and wire wrap those on and turn it into a pendant. I could bring these around and do them here and here and do another type of pendant. I could do this end up here, and whoops, it's getting hooked. So this could just be a big loop, okay, a big metal loop, big loop that you might have, big ring you might have. I definitely could go like this here and see how it changes the look again. Now if I take this and put it across the bottom and wire wrap this on, completely different again. Okay, let's take this off, put another one of these on top. Are you starting to see things that you can do with this? Cool, let's pull this out. Let's just take these 2 pieces and make them happy together like this, and let's add the top and the bottom. Lovely pair of earrings, right? Super easy. Wire wrap, wire wrap, wire wrap, wire wrap. Hang something, you're finding. See? Easy. Let's take this one and put this one with the loops out. changes the look again, right? Let's see. Let's take this and put this in the middle of that. And I've got something really fun and funky. But let's take this, we'll flip it over. It'll flip over for me. And I'm going to do this. Flip this one over for me. Just trying to bring it over so it doesn't... So I got to flip the wrong way. It was already flipped the right way. And I'm thinking hanging a bunch of dangles from the bottom, and I feel this feels like Bollywood to me, or something similar to that. Okay, you could take this and this with this. Let's tie it there. Now let's go with the bigger one. Look at that. And I've got another earring with this top piece on. Or we'll switch to the other top piece. See, I don't like that one as much. Blech. I like this one much better. It just has better flow. It just feels better. Right? Again, you could put gemstones, one here, you could put one here, it would be beautiful, a drop on the bottom, or some kind of gemstone on the bottom. These can go together inside a circle. So if you have a circle of wire, you know, or a square of wire, you could take this and this, let's do it like this, and make a square frame to go around them, like I did with my Southwest earrings, and put these inside that frame. Yeah, I'm not crazy by the way this is sitting. There we go. Still not crazy. Oh, look at that. Another finding. These two could be put together here. And then you have the top and the bottom. And this could be, again, used as... I would do this all as one motion, though, in one piece of wire if I was going to use it for an end for something. But if I want to use it for an earring, this way. So, this way. So this is an earring this way. And then I would wrap something here, and connect it to here, connect it to here, and connect the center. Right? Jump ring, or a little finding on top. So I want you to think about wire and think about it being your friend. I know a lot of people are new to this and they're afraid of wire and afraid of findings, and findings are really expensive when you start making jewelry. I did a lot of this out of necessity. I had no money, very little money. I got sick and I wasn't able to make any money, so I was living on a, you know, very geared, you know, low income kind of situation. And I had to just get what I could, and what I could get was minimal. And so the easiest way for me to cut down the cost was to make some of my own endings and my own findings. And I got pretty good at it after a while. I mean, these are quickie made. I didn't take my time that I would normally take. So I'm still playing as I'm talking to you. So play. Don't be afraid. Play, play, play. Please play. Remember that little earring finding I told you about that you could do like this? And in this case, I think I would just go with the jump ring, but you could go like this. So again, I'm building sideways instead of up and down, but let's see if I do an outside one, if it's better. No, I don't like it. So I would go with just the jump ring up top. I think it looks nicer. But again, it's your taste. What do you like? Right? Seriously, what do you like? Hello. Could this be added in if I made more? And this could be the bottom and this could be the top. So look at this. This is like, just think, you know, Art Nouveau with this. You know how many people would love an earring like this? So Again, play with your wire. These are some little things that you can make with your wire. I'm not going to show you how to wrap the wire around these center pieces or wrap them here. There's lots of other videos, plus my other wrapping videos show you how to wrap two wires together. That's basically the same premise. The only thing is you're putting it in and out of a hole. And I've shown you how to do that too. So go back and watch some of the earlier ones if you need to know how to wrap wire around another wire. You know, and I would use like a 26 or 28 gauge as my wrapping wire. If I'm using an 18 gauge, you could get away with 26, no problem. I think this is 26 that I've used here. Depends on how much you want it to show. You could wrap the entire thing, the whole outside, with coils. You know, coil the wire around it and just make that a completely different look. Yeah, so have fun. Play with your wire. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope that it helped you to start to think differently. Because that's what I'm hoping with my channel, is that I teach you tools that you can take and then be yourself and be creative. I'm not here for you to, you know, redo what I did. You can do that if you want to learn. But I really want you to start to think differently about what wire is and how it works, and what you can do with it, and use your own imagination to come up with crazy stuff. And as you can see, none of these are perfect, but if I put this together as a pair of earrings, and I did, you know, another set that were almost exactly the same, they would look lovely, and everybody would be happy with them. So keep on making for Manny's Making. Let your imagination soar, and take care. Bye-bye.